Hey YouTube, thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to show you what happens, how do you fix Mercedes when the gear stops shifting. Now of course you got to run a diagnosis with the STAR diagnosis, which is the specific Mercedes computer that connect with your engine control unit and transmission control unit to be determined to know exactly what the reason is. But in that case today I already know what the reason is because I ran the STAR diagnosis. And I have to service the transmission, replace the control, not the control unit, but replace the conductor plate and clean the valves and change the oil, the filter, the gasket. So my car, the ML430 is not shifting out of a first gear. It's stuck on a first gear. I'm going to have to service the transmission. Let me show you what you need to service the transmission. First, of course, you need to lift up the car and hold it with jacks and, of course, something to drop the old oil into. Then you're going to need the conductor plate. This is the conductor plate. Hold on once again. I'll get some more light so you can get a better look at that. All right, a little more light. This is the conductor plate. This is where the wire harness, the plug goes into. That's where the solenoids are sitting on. And when I get the old conductor plate out, I'm going to show you so you have you're going to see how it looks with the solenoids on. This is the gasket, this is the filter, and this is the plug. These are the things that you're going to need, and of course, you're going to need the oil. It's a special Mercedes oil. It's ATF 4134. This is the transmission oil for the Mercedes transmissions. These are the things that you're going to need to service the transmission. I'm going to go under the car, drop the oil, and get back to you in a second. Stay tuned. Lift up the car, first of all, of course. Secure it with at least two supporters, as you can see there. What I do is I lift it up, I put the supporters, and then I put the jack back on, but put enough pressure just to hold it and make sure if one of them collapses or something, I'm not going to lose my life over it. So you can put two supporters, three supporters, whatever you feel comfortable with, just to make sure that you're going to be careful. Okay, so after you do that, we're going to go under and open the car. After you lift up the car, secured everything, you can crawl under and then open the plug that drains the oil from the transmission. In that case, I think it's an Allen wrench number 5. Not positive, check it, make sure you got the right one. As you can see, I don't know where this oil is coming from, but there's an oil leak somewhere. Gently open it and let... Alright, I'm going to have to work on that a little stronger. But gently drain the oil into a pan. Okay, it was a little hard to open it the first time, but now it's going to just drain out. I'm going to put that out and I'm going to turn it manually, and you're going to see the oil coming out in a second. Alright. Whoopa. Very, very, very dark oil. Okay, I'll show you the color in a second. Alright, while the oil is draining, I just want to give you a heads up on that. A lot of people says, oh, Mercedes says it's a lifetime transmission, you're not supposed to open it, don't mess with it, blah, blah, blah. Let me break this theory of not changing oil on transmission. First of all, this transmission came to the end of its life. So obviously I'm going to extend the life and I'm going to make sure that the transmission is going to be back working. So in that case, it's either throwing the transmission away and putting a new transmission or salvaging, saving the transmission. But as far as transmissions in general, BMW, Mercedes make the transmission closed so people can't really mess up with the transmissions. And just to break this myth, I've been fixing many transmissions in my life. And there is no doubt that changing oil filter on the transmission extend the life of the transmission. So some people that think that if you have the old dust from the clutches on the transmission, it makes sure that the transmission doesn't slip and all that stuff. I call BS on that. You change the oil goes through different solenoids and tunnels inside the transmission, and if it's a fresh, good oil, it will go much easier, much smoother, the transmission will shift easier, and you'll get much better performance. So as far as the life of the oil inside that meant to be forever, that's for the end user, but not necessarily for technicians that working on this car. So just to break the myth, if you have problems with the transmission, you have to service the transmission. Even though Mercedes claimed that the transmission got to stay closed forever, you need to service the transmission. Drop down the oil, change the filter, change the gasket, of course, so you don't get leaks after that, and you'll be surprised how good the transmission can perform after a good service. So I'm going to let it drain for about maybe 15 minutes until the last drop's coming out, and then I'm going to open the pan. I just don't want to open the pan while there might be oil there, because then it leaks on me and I don't like it. One of the things I hate the most is transmission oil. So I'll get back to you. I'm going to lower the car and make sure that it's even and I can get as much transmission fluid out of the transmission before I'm opening the pan. I'll get back to you when I'm going to get the pan out. Stay tuned. Next step, you're going to take Torx. It's a star, the Star of David wrench, and you're going to open 6. Let's see, I think it's 6. I'm quite confident, but let me see. Oh yeah, 6 bolts. Here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let me open them and I'll show you what you see next. I mentioned already how much I hate transmission fluid, but anyway, when you open these 6 bolts here, just try to open one side where you can tilt everything towards one side, because this one still have a lot of oil inside. You don't see it coming down anymore. You can see it dripping, but trust me, there's still oil inside, and if you think you open it and you're just going to lower it down, forget about it. All the oil spills on you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open all of them, but let it tilt one side a little more so I can get as much oil as I can without spilling to the sides. Very important. Okay. Anyway, did I mention how much I hate transmission fluid? I hate it. Alright, once you finally think that you got all the oil out and you're about to take the pan out, just make sure you got a good towel, because once you take the pan out, it's going to keep on dripping probably for about a week. It's funny how it works. But I lift one of them. It's not really heavy, so it's not going to bend a bolt or anything. Almost most of the oil is out, at least from the pan. There's still up. Maybe you can take a pic of the transmission. Woohoo! Anyway, most of the oil is almost out. I'm going to take the pan in a second, but I'm going to close that before I take the pan out, because I don't want to drip everywhere. And then I'm going to show you how the transmission looks on the bottom. Hang on. Alright, here is a pic of how the transmission looks on the bottom. Obviously you can see this is the filter, still full of oil. I'm going to let it drip for a couple of hours before I dive under. I just hate this drop of oil on my eyes. Alright, but that's it. And we'll take the valve body, everything out, and get to the conductor plate and replace it. So stay tuned. Alright, while the oil is dripping out, I'm going to start and open the plug. The plug, this is where the wire harness is connecting into, and there is a little bolt inside that you have to open. You see the screw over that side? This one is screwed inside, and there is an O-ring that goes into the case. There is an O-ring. Sometimes you get a leak from the engine into the wire harness, and that can cause some problems too. Just heads up, don't always assume the worst. By the way, I wanted to say it before. But if you're running into problems with your transmission, don't always assume that the transmission is bad and that's it. You gotta throw the car away. It's such a complex machine, and there's so many different things that build this machine together. And sometimes it's enough that one of the things won't function and it shuts down the whole compartment of which that section is operating. So in that case, again, I know what the problem is, because you know I have the experience in this field. But if you don't have the experience and you don't know what the problem is, it's better to try and get a professional opinion before you jump into something and start to change parts and start to throw money away on things that may not solve the problem. Okay, so with that being said, let's go back to the plug. There is a little bolt inside. It's a number 7. And this is where the wire harness goes into. The way to disconnect the wire harness is basically this one here. is turning. I can turn it with one. Alright, here. You just turn it like that and the plug will come out. And then when you put the plug back in, you got to make sure you put it right. Because if not, you can break the pins on the wire, on the pin on the controller itself. Let me show you the pins that this one is sitting on. Basically, the way it sits is this is what you're going to see on the transmission, and this one sits, and there is only one way that it's going to go in. And after, nope, here it is. I'm looking at the stuff, but anyway, I can't do it with one hand. But after you sit it inside, you'll turn this one. All right, that's going to be complicated to do, but you're going to turn that sideways when the plug goes in, and it's going to tighten inside. So you see this one turning. Now the number 7 inside, after you pull the plug out, you're going to open that and pull the plug out, and you're going to take a little number 7 wrench, socket wrench, and you're going to put that inside. You're going to make sure that you're getting to the bolt, and sometimes I don't think you're going to be able to see that when you're under the car. You kind of got to guess that and feel that you grab that, and then you open that. And then you can yank the plug out. Obviously what's going to hold it in pressure is the O-ring, and the way that it's locked in with the tension. Alright, so I'm going to go under and open the plug. Stay tuned. We'll see how I get the plug out and then take the valve body out. Stay tuned. Alright, YouTubers, I'm just going to show you real quick the connection. As a matter of fact, I just did another video and I had to delete it because it wasn't focused at all. But, crap, that's why I don't like it. It drips on you. When you think that it's all dry, it bleeds and drips on you. So let me just clean it real quick so I don't get anything in my face. Alright, actually I already took it out. But this is the plug right here. I put it behind the catalytic converter. This is the plug, and the way to get it out is basically just turn this one here. It was locked here, and then you turn it down and the plug just comes out. So you take the plug out, and let's see if I can show you. I can't show you nothing, there is no light, but anyway, the number 7 bolt inside, you have to take that out before you take the valve body out, because otherwise you're going to break the conductor plate inside. So you got to take the bolt in, you got to take the connector out, then you can start and work on the valve body, and then you'll get to the conductor plate. Okay. All right. So let me get out. I'm gonna let it drip for another maybe 10 minutes. So when I get under, I'm not gonna get too much crap on my face, too much transmission fluid. You see how it drips all the time? It keeps on bleeding for a long time. I left the car like that one time for 2 days and came back, and it was still bleeding. So anyway, this is the valve body. You saw the plug that needs to come out, and I'll get back with you when I get the valve body out. Stay tuned.